I want to put a little disclaimer coming from my own experience. The things that I've seen, experiences that I've seen other people go through, feeling of a deep responsibility to share and open the concerns about the medical system, make you aware, and also to question things. As a collective, I believe it's important to not just do things just because everyone else is doing them. Just because everyone is doing something doesn't mean it's necessarily correct. We live in a very monkey see, monkey do mentality. I've been noticing a lot of things that you stray from the herd. You are sometimes villainized or considered woo-woo. Smartest people and the bravest people have done things outside the box and have proven that there are other ways of being and doing. Albert Einstein is a good one. He's a perfect example. Someone who is seen as crazy, but he made incredible things like that. The beginning of my journey, once I discovered I was pregnant, I knew automatically I wanted midwives. There's a few reasons for this. One, I have been through very traumatizing things in a hospital. Had things done to me at a very early age that shouldn't have even happened. It's just certain things kids shouldn't be going through. Experiencing two people that I love dearly passing away because of an error. I think it's worth mentioning. It's not necessarily the doctors, the nurses that are in wrong. Sometimes they are. It's the systems that are placed. The systems, from what I've seen, from what I've experienced, it is solely there, profit over people, putting a band-aid over things, and that is something that I don't agree with medicine. Medicine should be there to treat the root problem of things, which is holistic care. A lot of people think holistic care is woo-woo, but then when I ask them, okay, what is it? They can't tell me. So I think it's very important before you get into anything, do your research. Knowledge is power. I didn't realize how powerful I was until after I gave birth. Going on this pursuit of finding a midwife, doing things in a holistic way, you're gonna have people that either look side-eye at you, or they're gonna have doubts. In America, like, it's not as common as hospital births, but in other countries, it's normalized. It's normal. It's not a condition. Women know what to do. Our instincts kick in. Motherly instinct. It's natural. Women have been doing this for the beginning of time. Midwives have been here from the beginning of time. There has been some amazing women who have sacrificed their lives to practice midwifery at some point in history. I'm not going to try to go too much into details about certain things because I feel like this is going to be a very long video if I go full in detail. So if there's anything that you want me to elaborate more on, please let me know in the comments. I would love to elaborate on that and give clarity. Again, this is from my experience. Everyone has their own experience, but my intention with this video is pretty much, if I can do this, you can do this. Such an empowering thing. And there's so much BS I didn't go through. People may have different, whatever, but I'm a firm believer what you put your focus on is what you get back. And there were people that were scared, and I think that they were trying to help me into scaring me into not doing this. I had a deep inner knowing, deep sense of self No matter what anyone would tell me, I knew I had to do this. It was a very cold winter arc of mine, and I had to pursue it alone. I definitely felt isolated and alone during this time, but it was good. It was so good. I needed it. Of course, I had my husband, but there's a certain sense of like, I needed to get unplugged, avoid all the noise, tap into me, tap into whatever, you believe in, the earth, the spirit guides, the universe, God, whatever. I tapped into something, and I tapped into, I believe, to my higher self and some other things, but very enlightening. It was beautiful yet dark, empowering. I listened to all those cues, those tiny little voices, and if I would have had a lot of distractions and noise and certain people around me, I wouldn't have been able to hear these things. That's why I needed to be alone. I deleted all my social media. It was prepping me to have the birth I imagined. And I know people have different opinions about visualization, about writing, about different things like that, and I do believe to a certain extent certain things are very glorified. Like, if you do this one time, all your wishes are gonna come true, and it's not like that at all. I went through a very difficult time. I did certain practices like writing and visualization because your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is not. And once you start studying quantum physics, other things in that nature, different spiritual things were connecting to each other. The very first step I did was I did a lot of research before picking my midwife. There seemed to be like okay options. I didn't want okay options. I was picky in the pursuit of what I wanted. I picked a place an hour away from me. Some people were concerned about that. Again, I had this inner knowing. I knew this place was good, and it was. My midwives were amazing. I did a really great job on picking them. Before I could even go to a midwife, they directed me somewhere to get checked that I was actually pregnant, and I was. The place that I did go to, I didn't have the best experience, only due to and I kind of get it. Some people that go in there, they come from a abusive place, or some men don't want the child to be born. That kind of scenario. I wanted my husband to be there, and he just was not allowed to be in the room, and I was very annoyed. And eventually, he was able to go into the room. I guess they just wanted to see if I was good or not, and it's just, yeah. So that whole thing, I've noticed in certain routes, the standard way is what I'm trying to say. They don't like men involved. I've noticed that, and also through other women in my life that I've seen, men seem to just be like, shoo shoo, go. And I don't really like that, because not all men are like that, and there are men out there that do want to be in the process. And my husband was really upset that, part of that process he wasn't a part of. It was a very special moment for him. I was pregnant, great. We were very picky on who we told. For us in that time, we felt like it needed to be sacred, also due to spiritual protection. Very surreal. And jumping forwards, I went to different appointments with my midwives. For me, how it all worked is there was several midwives that would just check me. I had more than others at different times. One I only saw one time, but for the most part I saw like 3 or 4. I asked a lot of questions. They checked my weight, checked my pee. Occasionally I had to draw blood. The irony of everything is that I wasn't scared about labor. I was scared of the times that I knew I had to go into the appointment and I had to get poked. It doesn't make really any sense, but I end up finding out that there's a certain phobia, I forgot what it's called, but who's afraid to draw blood and have needles in them. But I did good. I really worked on my mindset, and actually a good book for that is Mind Change. It doesn't have to be for a pregnancy. The overall summary is your mind is incredibly powerful, and I believe there's a reason why in movies we see that labor is like difficult or unrealistic. There's a lot of fear base when it comes to that, a controlling sense, very one-way kind of narrative when it comes to hospitals and being under their systems. I just don't agree with. Again, knowledge is power. I think that's a really good book to start with before any other book, in my opinion. The first book that I read was Orgasm Births, and it was a very unique book. I had an interesting perspective. I feel like anyone who reads this book, you're gonna have to have an open mind. Well, any of the books that I suggest, you probably should have an open mind too. I think it's good to have a different level of perspectives and things to look at, because sometimes it can give you a lot of clarity, and it's truly helped me. And one thing that I liked with my midwives is they had a mini library, and I would take 2 books and I would read them before my next appointment. But yeah, any concerns I had, they were very knowledgeable. Checked my heartbeat, they checked my blood pressure, they checked, the position of your baby. They ask you questions like, how you feeling? The only issue that I had during my whole pregnancy, they wanted me to gain more weight quickly. Some of the midwives were okay as long as I was gaining weight each week, and some of them weren't okay with it. Some of them wanted me to gain even more weight. From my research, it's better to gradually gain the weight. You don't want to just like peg out, be on the couch, no movement at all. And I feel like that's such a backwards narrative that we have placed in America. I'm not saying everyone does it, but a large amount of people do this. I've also met people during my journey who did different things like that, ate out at fast food, have swollen ankles, and the reason why they're swollen ankles is because you're not moving enough. Birth is a marathon. You're supposed to move. You're supposed to eat healthy and to have like a good schedule where you're getting sunlight, you're going out and moving, you're eating well, you're around healthy company, because who you surround yourself with is critical with a woman's pregnancy. And a lot of people don't talk about that. Your psychological wellness, like how you feel, like everything. What you're pretty much experiencing, your baby's experiencing. It blows my mind the amount of things that women do during their pregnancy that they're actually not supposed to do. And it's because we are not properly educated, and our education system, healthcare system, is just pure crap. One of the worst out of several countries. One of the worst. And that's something to be concerned about, is something to get angry about, is something to be questioned. There's a long list of things that I wasn't supposed to eat. And the list that I got, it pretty much showed that you pretty much had to be vegan. And at that time, I was vegan. I was vegan for 8 years. During my pregnancy, I thrived. being vegan. Like, I felt great, my hair was beautiful, my skin was flawless, my nails were strong, and I educated myself on how to be vegan, how to get different proteins and everything like that. And each day I would get at least 75 to 80 grams of protein. People used to tell me, well, what are you gonna do when you're pregnant? You know, you're gonna still be vegan? And it's just like, yes I am. Because I'm still getting the protein, I'm getting all the nutrients I need. It's just, you have to do things differently. You have to adjust, you have to adapt. But during my breastfeeding phase, I actually ate meat, and it was the weirdest thing to me. In that time, my body needed it. I was pescatarian for six months, and then I started eating meat again. Having the vegan lifestyle, it requires certain things, and you do have to eat more. If you're a vegan that actually does it the right way, and you're not the unhealthy vegan, you have to eat more, and it costs a little bit more, depending on what you do. Anything like plant-based, like the ultra processed food, like the patties, the nuggets, everything like that, it's crap for you. It's ultra processed. At that point, you should probably be eating the real thing. And that's coming from a vegan. That's coming from, from experience, from learning what's in the vegan food. Fortunately, a lot of that stuff is a lot worse. Now, part of the reason why I became vegan was because of what was being put into the meat. And when you eat the meat, if the animal is in a certain state of mind and a certain energy, even after it's dead, it's cut up, that energy is still there. So you're eating the energy of either fear or different things like that. I know it sounds woo-woo. Do your research. Each to their own. This is my own truth and my experience, and I felt crappy eating meat when I did. Now, since I've learned about different things, I eat highest form, and I've noticed a difference. I don't feel as crappy. That's something that we're not taught. And I feel like there's also people that do know. It's just the good stuff is more expensive. So it can be hard, it can be a struggle. I would suggest do the best that you can to eat the rainbow, to eat a whole foods diet. Organic meat, the brown eggs, organic milk. But there's also a lot of things you're really not supposed to be eating when you're pregnant. So talk to your midwife, talk to whoever you go to for medical advice when it comes to that. But after all the doctor visits and everything like that, I'm keeping up with a journal, writing down my workouts, writing down my mental state, researching, YouTube, Brave, Pinterest, books, mainly books. That was my main source, and end up befriending an herbalist, which was pretty cool. And I'll list down here the tea that she brewed me, and it was amazing. Just finding out different foods also that could help me quicken my labor, different yoga poses, help me, move the baby down quicker, exercising. My schedule was waking up early in the morning before it got too hot, and I would do 2 miles at least. That was my bare minimum. If I felt up to it, the most I did was 5 miles. And later on, I would also do meditation practice. I didn't start my yoga practice until the 3rd trimester. Holding back on certain workout routines that I used to have. In the 1st and 2nd trimester, I kind of somewhat did the same thing. I did lower weights. The most I did was 19 pounds, which I got approved by my midwife. Further down, I did 10 weights. And then 3rd trimester, I just didn't do any weights. I did pretty much strictly yoga and my walking. Walking helps you. The more walking you do, it's key. Walking helps you have a quicker birth. Anything that I'm elaborating on or that I'm talking about and you want me to elaborate more on, put it down in the comments so I can make a video on that. Because this video is already 34 minutes in and I was not expecting to talk this long. So, dates is probably like the cherry on top. Hydrated, eating whole foods, everything compounds. The little things, the mundane things, it's boring, but it works. I accomplished a 2-hour birth. Like, please let that sink in. It's not to brag. It's the power of knowledge. It's the power of believing in yourself. It's the power of questioning what the system's doing. Because most women, they go through 20 plus hours giving birth. Their first time. And there's no reason. Women are scared to have birth. There's less birth rates in the United States. It costs an arm and a leg and possibly a kidney to give birth in a hospital. And you're under also the hospital's time. When you start rushing nature, when you start meddling, that's when problems happen. A whole list of problems when it comes to the hospitals. And the reason for that is most of the time because of rushing. What I like about the midwives is they are specialized. They strictly do birth versus a doctor who does it here and there. Doctors do, whatever, everything. They're not completely specialized in one thing. Midwives are solely, and let me tell you, after knowing everything I know, I have mad respect for midwives. Thank you for your service, and thank you for my midwives, because let me tell you, you have to breathe and eat and bleed and sweat to be a midwife, because I was actually considering becoming a midwife. But after realizing the training, obviously, that you have to go through, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. As of right now, I'm a new mom. I want to spend time with my baby. It's a commitment. It's like getting a tattoo on your face. It's having a kid of your own. You have to be committed, and that would mean me being away from my baby. And you never know. Maybe when I get older and I have more free time, I'll commit to that. But as right now, it's my dedication to my little one. It's incredible, like the knowledge that they have, and I appreciate that. I felt like a safe place, and I was allowed to express myself. I was allowed to say no. We're not doing this. That's what I loved about picking midwives, having a home birth. I'm in charge. To a certain extent, I was in control, but they're the main ones that are in control, obviously. But I had the power to choose. If I didn't feel comfortable with something, I'm allowed to say no. I know some people could probably say, yeah, you could do that at the hospital, but there's been too many instances that I've seen where you're not really allowed to say anything. You're under their standards and their rules. When you're choosing a home birth, you are in your space. You call the shots for the most part. At some point, my midwives, I had called them up when I was in labor. I'm like, I think it's happening. The contractions were coming closer together, and I have like a self kit that I can test myself, and if it came out purple, it meant that I was in labor. And I had called them. I'm like, hey, you guys are an hour away, and I'm just letting you know, I have a feeling that things are gonna go a lot quicker, kind of indicating something in that lines. And they're like, no, all first time moms, feel like that and everything like that. I'm like, okay, I'm not the expert here. You could be right. I put my whole faith into them. Things starting to get more intense. By the time that they got there, I was really feeling things. We had like a water jug, and I was like leaning against it, and I could see from the side, the midwife was like kind of looking at me like, huh. And at some point, it just started happening. For the most part, my whole birthing process was standing up. I could not sit down or lay down to save my life. By the way, laying down Like this, like this is not good. It's not good. Gravity is not helping you, my dear, my love, an outdated system to be giving birth like that. I know not all hospitals do that, but the majority of hospitals do that. I don't like the intention behind that. And it makes me so angry on certain techniques like that, because so many women have died. Women have lost their child. They had to get cut open, and it's all because of, you know, trying to quicken the process or trying to get more money out of you. I know some of you would probably argue with me on that, but there's been too many instances and too many things happen to me that shouldn't have happened. Different techniques could have performed than doing it in that way. Because I was standing up, gravity was helping me. It was beautiful. It was chef's kiss. Holy crap. Try to stand up if you can. Gravity's gonna help you. Initially, I was supposed to do a water birth. And what I also loved about the midwives is they were trying to be cost efficient towards me. But the midwives I chose, you have to have a birth kit that you pay through a different system, and you have to buy a pool separately. So the pool was going to be $100. I didn't have to pay until I used it. My family had a huge tub. It was a deep tub. It was perfect for giving birth. But there's complications with the tub, and there's like a filtering system, and it was coming out dirty, or it was something like that. I was quite literally giving birth. I was told later on, midwives were freaking out at one point because they were not expecting me to give birth this quickly. This is the power of knowledge. So many people don't have internet access. I know you should take a grain with salt with the internet, which you should, but again, if you don't know, ask for guidance. I'm telling you, you're gonna get your answer. Use your intuition. We all have it. You become dangerous when you use your intuition, when you use your inner guidance, because there's outside forces, there's corporations that don't benefit from you having knowledge, having that confidence, that inner knowing, the self-belief, having those qualities. Why I decided to create this channel after my birth, and I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't record everything. I really beat myself up for that, but at the same time, I think it was a sacred time for me. It was a beautiful time. I went through a very hard spiritual awakening during that time, and maybe it was best, but next pregnancy, you guys are going to be tuned in. I want to make sure as many women as possible can have such a beautiful, empowering birth. Like, holy crap. Like, can you imagine if you had a 2-hour birth? Some of you probably said never, I can never. But you can, and you have to watch your words. Your cells, your body listens to you. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is not. We're very powerful. And this is what I'm trying to show. And question things. If you're going to a doctor, question your doctor. Question your midwife. It's not society norms, but in many cultures, it's the norm. You pretty much won the jackpot. To be human and to be born, it's so tiny. If I'm able to just help one person make a big change like this, how great would it be to have such a conscious shift as a collective, as a society that profits from you being in lack. I want you to do your research. I want you to analyze, to observe. I think a lot of people are actually aware of what's going on. But people don't because it's scary. And I get that. There's been times I've been scared to death about certain things and easily get down into the rabbit hole. With great knowledge comes with great responsibility. and power. You can transmute that into good. You can change the directory of not only your life, other people's life, your future generation. And I did it without medication. I did get this. It's a homeopathic medicine. I didn't get to use most of it. It was 18 remedies. The only thing that I used is for anxiety. There was one part where I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. I told my midwives that, and they're like, no, you can do this. And I had a trainee with them too. She told me, remember the reason why you're doing this. It was very hard to think at some point. It was very hard, but our bodies are creating that. It may not seem beautiful, it may seem like very difficult going through that process, but it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, and it showed how strong I am. I had gotten a lot of crap from people. Only person I personally felt that believed in me was my husband. But I think that was also from him knowing that I just don't give up. When you go this route, you have to have a strong reason why. My biggest reasons why was because I know how the system works. It makes me angry. I'm angry for all the women that passed, the babies that have passed, the medication that wasn't necessary, the splitting you open that wasn't necessary, everything that wasn't necessary, that was just BS. And it boggles my mind that not enough people are angry. It's literally in front of us. There's so much noise around us that we cannot see it. That's why I was guided to just get silent. I had gotten comments like, well, most women have to take medication. Most women need to be in a hospital because it's safer. Well, I could never do that. Oh, you need to still be checked out by a doctor because of this and this and this. People were projecting their fears onto me. And when you have a clear knowing of who you are and what you're standing for, no one can tell you otherwise. I really hope that I can make a difference with this and encourage women to think about it. If anything, it's question things and absorb. I think you're gonna see a lot of things that are not so nice. And again, I know it's scary, but would you rather be scared and being taken advantage of, potentially putting harm to yourself and your baby, or educating yourself, reaching out to different people in the field, and potentially making a better choice for yourself? At least one of the reasons why I did it too is to heal past generations. I do believe in generation patterns. I could not tell you how many times I've heard, well, my mom did this, my grandma did this, my friend did this. And just because most people are doing it doesn't mean that's necessarily correct. It's conformity. There's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of psychology. Billions of dollars being made by you not being educated, by advertisement. It's time for us to wake up. And I get that not every woman may be capable of doing a home birth or different things like that. I know there are like certain situations, I am aware of that, but I do believe most of you are capable. I truly believe that. Most of you are strong enough to do it. It's just we have this narrative says that either we're not good enough, we don't care about ourselves enough, we've been told not to do it, we've been persuaded and put in fear. I'm here to tell you, I think you can do it. If no one else believes in you, I believe in you. I gave birth to my little Jellybean. In 2 hours, I was pushing for 11 minutes without medication. In the comfort of my home, I only had my husband with me. I think in the next pregnancy, I'm going to have maybe a few more people. And that's another thing that I am I don't like about hospital settings, you can only have like one person with you. No one said anything. Everyone is just like, okay, my bad. I don't know, it's interesting. I also realize the perception that people have of me is very interesting. And it kind of makes me wonder, how did you get that? But, you have to be okay with that. That's another, I think, a big thing you have to be okay with. You have to be okay with people misunderstanding you. You have to be okay with criticism. You gotta have thick skin. Because when you do things outside of the norms, people don't like that. People don't like when people are doing different things. Anywho, but yeah, also after I gave birth, around a week or two, I had made lasagna. And let me tell you, it really hit different after giving birth. Giving birth is a workout. It really is. And I think it's very important for women to know that, you know, you gotta work out. You gotta work out during your pregnancy. You gotta do the walk. It's gonna suck at times, but you gotta remember your why. And then I also made blueberry muffins. I also had like a molded tray. Was really into like mango juice, but just like straight like pure mangoes, and I would juice it myself. And so what we did was, for me to sustain enough energy, we would make molds, put the mango juice in, and we put like little sticks and made pretty much like popsicles. And whenever I felt like I needed to eat or something, I just had something light. And that's another thing I don't like about hospitals is you're not allowed to eat. And I knew another woman that said that they refused her to eat. She didn't eat that for that whole time, and I couldn't imagine. But I think it's nice to have just something small to nibble on. My midwives had actually told me that this woman, she was going ham on like a big ramen bowl, and it had a whole bunch of stuff in it, and she was just eating it, and then she tossed it all up. Not recommended to eat too much while you're giving birth. You should be able to have substance. Like, you are using so much energy when you're giving birth. I made one mistake. I didn't have a hair tie. It gets hot. You're sweating. At least I was sweating. The trainee had gotten a big thing of water, and like, just, that's why like my video, my hair is like wet here but then dry here, because she did that and she put it on my neck, and just that one thing made my birth so much easier. And then I also was able to keep my placenta. You may not know, hospitals keep your placenta and they use it to make a profit. So you can try to ask for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they tell you no, I'm gonna throw it away. They don't throw it away. What I love about home birth is I'm able to keep it. And there's multi-uses you can actually do with your placenta. And one of the options my midwife had asked me if I wanted to do was to make like a vitamin form of it. And it's supposed to be really good during your postpartum. For me, I didn't do it. Also because it cost $200. A little pricey for me at the moment. But also, it's kind of weird because that organ is created to keep out, detoxify any chemicals or anything that's not meant to be in the baby. So you would think all that crap is like sitting in there. So would it actually be good for you? I gotta look more into that. Or if someone knows, let me know in the comments. My original plan was to make a tree. Till later on, I end up finding out if something were to happen to me, and whether I got sick or, you know, whatever reason, I can actually take that to someone. They can do like the pill form, or there's different ways to do it. And I can intake it, and it can actually heal me. So it's weird, but keep your placenta. Mine's in my freezer. You just put it in the freezer. This is what I'm saying. There's just so much information. There's so much that we're not taught, and it benefits us. You know, it helps us. And this is stuff that we can teach our kids, so when they have kids, they can have a good experience. You know, this generation pattern of like just one woman after another saying something crappy about the birth that they had and the awful experience that they had. Like, I personally, this is just me, have never heard a good story or have seen one in a hospital. Again, that's just me. I'm sure there's someone out there that had, you know, a good hospital experience. At least I hope. But there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot more, I would say, peace. Not feeling like a number. Not feeling like kind of like a cow that's tagged and you're just a number. For me, I also liked building that connection. That was something that was very valuable for me, was to build that connection between me and my midwife and getting to know the people that were gonna help birth my baby with me. And it was something very beautiful, and like just as a collective of women, like supporting each other, and I was supporting them and they were supporting me. And very surreal when I was holding Jellybean. They were telling me like, wow, like you did a good job. You did amazing. And it was so good to hear that. And at first, like, I can't believe I said this, but I'm like, I wanted to do better. And it's just like, I'm very critical of myself. I'm very, I can always do better. And I feel like it's just because I always had to. I've always had to, like, just always step up because I was forced to. So I guess that's just where that criticism comes from. And she said that I think one day you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, no, and she was right. They had their wisdoms of their own and their own kids and lives, and it was interesting to learn about them and their stories. And when they came and checked on me and during my postpartum, and that's something I like too, that they give you support on that. They give you different tools, they give you resources. You know, they are there for the root. They're not there for the band-aid. And that's why I went for a home birth. Once you know how the system works, you do things differently. Because you have to. You can't unsee it. I think that's why a lot of people just kind of like look the other way, or they know and they don't know what to do, or they feel like they don't have the power to change and to make change. And you do. You really do. And I'm really hoping my story helped you. Definitely for next time, I'm going to be showing everything that's important and that needs to be said, the good, the bad. I'm not trying to make this glamorous. I'm not trying to make this perfect. People just need to see the realness. I just think with social media, things are too perfect. At least there's a lot of things that are perfect, unless you're on X. X is, you gotta have a strong mind for X too. You gotta be, okay with seeing the dark sides of things too, and learning how to cope with them. Because as someone who is who's an empath, or who's very sensitive to things, it's hard, you know, to see certain things, to speak up. But I think that's where your power lies, and it's gonna reach the right people. The people that know where you're coming from and what you're trying to support. You're gonna get that support from those people, and hopefully that branches off to different things, and that's when true change can happen, where more people can feel more confident of speaking up and making that change, because we need to make this change. Like, I know everyone is entitled to have their opinion, and that's fine. But there's a real dangerous and dark problem that's happening. What I've seen, more people are getting hurt than healed. And that's a problem for me. And it should be a problem for you too. And also to not make you fear birth. Birth is so beautiful. It's so rewarding to be a mother. There's no words. I just want everyone to have a good experience like I did. To celebrate life. To treat birth more in a sacred way. It's crazy with the amount of power that we have. And if we use it correctly, we know how to transmute it, we can do incredible things. My original goal was 8 hours. I did 2. Think about those things. Ponder on them. Bye guys. Have a good night.